Now, importers of petroleum products have ruled out any sharp price hikes at the pumps if the new sulfur levels for fuel are implemented next year. Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Moses Asaga, told Joy Business they are hoping to start with a new level ranging between 500 to 10 ppm from next year. This should mean that from next year, products on the market will be a little bit free from chemicals that is harmful to your vehicle engines and even your health. Speaking with Joy Business after a meeting put together by the NPA for industry players, Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Senyor Hosi, says consumers should not be worried when the new requirement takes off.
You see, the one interesting thing, the price benchmark that we use for diesel is 1,000 ppm. Our country standard is 3,000. We supply around 2,000. So you realize there's an arbitrage in there. Then you have, but that is not arbitrage that benefits BDCs get, but it's arbitrage that international traders will get. Then you take petrol. We price benchmark 10 ppm, not 1,000, 10 ppm, but we supply the market with about 1,000 because our national standard is 1,000. So who is really benefiting from all this? We are killing our people and we are making foreign traders richer.
The argument about maybe 30 pesos more on a liter when these things is not accurate.
You see, prices fluctuate, so it's very difficult. At a point, the difference in metric tons was $2. That will reflect in maybe a peso or two. So it's not necessarily 30 today. Tomorrow it may be 30, it could be 20. At a point, it could even be cheaper than what we do now. If you look at the index that we use, you compare them. There are times that the healthier products are cheaper than the less healthier products. It all depends on the demand and supply situation.
You're worried about any cost implications for the consumer?
I'm not too sure how much price you put on your life. And if you value that much, you won't trade it for even the 30 pesos that you are talking of.
Now, Chief Executive of TOR, that's the Tema Oil Refinery, Kwame Iwadako, on his part, stressed with the current infrastructure, the industry is not ready for 10 ppm implementation, but oil marketing companies say they are ready for the new directive. Kwikwa Jumandria is coordinator for the Association of Oil Marketing Companies.
The cost is very minimal. I mean, if you have it at the other end, especially TOR acquires the desulfurization plant, we are good to go. The BDCs are ready to go 10 ppm, which is very good. So once they get a product, even before then, before we started all this, they're getting levels which are far lower than what we are having now. So, I mean, it's a positive development, and we are ready to go.
Let's look at some rough numbers, not the actual numbers. Any estimations in terms of what additional cost might come with, even calibration of your equipment, your storage, and all those things, when this thing actually should take off?
The main issue would have been the old stock giving way to the new stock. That's what it is. When you have the old stock, but we are going to work in harmony with the BDCs in such a way that at the time that we are changing, we'll have relatively low stock, which will minimize the cost involved. But if it comes at a time where we all say that, like 1st January, everything should be like this, whilst we are having about 500 ppm in our stock, that would be very difficult.
Away from that, an international executive coach with the Stanford Seed Institute for Innovation in Developing Economies, Constantine Salame, is prevailing on businesses in the country to review their risk factors, especially ahead of the December elections. Some businesses are reportedly either holding onto their investments or restricting their operations to specific areas due to the uncertainty surrounding the upcoming polls. He spoke with Joy Business at a financial management workshop organized by legal and management consultancy firm MRB. Kukuaban was there.
Fully assessing the key business risks, Mr. Salome believes is very important in helping businesses forecast so that critical decisions could be taken to mitigate them. Some businesses are reportedly either holding on to their investments or restricting their operations to specific areas due to the uncertainty surrounding the upcoming polls. But speaking with Joy Business after a 2-day financial management workshop organized by legal and management consultancy firm MRB, an international executive coach with Stanford Seed Institute for Innovation in Developing Economies, Constantine Salome, said This highlights the need for businesses to re-evaluate their risks and draw up mitigation plans to tackle them.
Any business should have a repertoire of the risk, and a number of businesses don't even know. So you need to know what are the key risks that you are facing from a financial matter, operational matter, political matter that could impact your ability to grow your business profitably. This is the first step. The second step is you have to prioritize those risks. And the third step is you need to have a mitigation plan against each of the key risk areas. This will allow you to at least be prepared in case of anything can go wrong. In case of a devaluation, in case of any problem that you could have in shortages of utilities, you are better prepared. And any businesses, no matter what their size is, should have a risk repertoire and should have a mitigation plan.
Mr. Salome also wants businesses to be well prepared for the possible scenarios that may emerge after the elections.
I wouldn't say elections are risky. I think elections is part of any political system in any country. The only thing is what happens after the election. You know, what are the consequences? Is there going to be increase in taxes? Is there a reduction in subsidies? Do we have higher utility bills, higher oil prices? Do we have a devaluation of the currencies? These are the elements that will be important for the consumer or for the business owner. And the elections, depending what happens, could have an impact on these elements that could have, of course, an indirect or direct impact on the way we run business.
Some participants spoke with Joy Business after the workshop.
Great. First of all, it's really exposed me to a lot of things financially that we didn't know, a lot of things that we take for granted. For example, when you're making investments, when you're going outside the country to undertake projects, because that's what my company does most of the time.
For me, I came in with a finance background. I came in asking for hands-on experience or the way forward to make my business a better one. And I've learned so much. I've realized that I may not be doing as well as I think I am, and so I have to go and clean up my books. I've actually put together a to-do list and reprioritized. For me, it's a 360 turnaround. Once you've come onto this program, the kind of key learnings you take away.
Consumer finance and medical personnel, you know, I've done an MBA and everything, but this was really the kind of information that you would need to effectively run your business. They give you the accounts all the time and with different things, but the ability to use the various figures, to use the various ratios, to do the necessary interpretations, and to make the necessary financial decisions.
Businesses that are yet to file their annual reports and duly update their records at the Registrar General's Department now have up to the end of December to do so or face the sanctions. This is because the acting Registrar General, Jemima Owari, has extended the deadline for compliance to the end of December. There's more in this report.
The filing of annual returns and update of records is ongoing at the offices of the Registrar General's Department in Accra, Kumasi, Sekondi Takoradi, and Tamale, as well as online. The Registrar General's Department earlier in October started enforcing the law, which stipulates a fine of 300 Ghana cedis after each day of default. But the acting Registrar General, Jemima Owari, says the response by companies so far has necessitated an extension of the deadline to the end of the year.
Our front office was choked with people, as always, trying to make sure that they do not fall within this 300 Ghana cedis a day penalty regime we had instituted. And also based on a lot of calls inundating us that we should, try and extend the time, we have pushed this penalty regime to next year. So from now till the end of the year, that is 31st December 2016, all businesses that have not filed their returns as yet are being given the opportunity to file. And all partnerships who have also not renewed should also make sure they file. And then business names who have also not renewed their businesses should ensure that they renew.
This means the sanctions will now be applied from January next year. But exactly what will this mean for enterprises and companies?
First of all, the system is going to generate how much you actually owe in terms of penalty. It's not going to be manually done anymore. The system will actually alert you as to the fact that you've not filed your returns on time. Once that is done and then you finally come and file it, each day that you have reneged in filing the returns, you have to pay this figure of 300 Ghana cedis. For business names, however, when you do a search on a business name, the status is going to be inactive, and you will not be able to carry out any changes on the business name until you have renewed the business name up to date. So it's incumbent upon all business names to also renew it up to date, because it's just 25 Ghana cedis to renew a business name, to keep your name on our register. But if you do not do it and then you have, say, 10 years, that alone is 250. 20 years, you're going on to maybe 500, and I wouldn't want that for any business name, when you just can pay just 25 Ghana cedis each year.
Update of records is free, apart from the fees to be paid for renewing the businesses or filing of annual returns for the number of years in default. Businesses are advised to make all payments at the department's on-site bank, Fidelity Bank Limited, and not to any individual.
Meanwhile, the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, is advising government to rethink the proposed tax rebate scheme for industries. According to the president of the association, James Asare-Jay, even though the policy is good, he thinks much could be done to help businesses obtain significant benefits rather than just tax rebates. Minister of Employment and Labour Relations Haruna Iddrisu last week announced that government will begin the implementation of the tax rebate policy for the private sector that will recruit fresh graduates from tertiary institutions. The move, he said, is aimed at helping the sector cut down on cost of operations and recruitment. But speaking to Joy Business, James Asare-Jay says government should give it a second thought.
We need to identify our focus, as a country when it comes to employment creation. If we think that we are looking at tax rebate, at what level are we talking about tax rebate? Can we make it so incentivizing that companies that employ, young graduates, or that offer internship programs for young graduates can be given some level of relief? It could be taxes. It could also be support in whatever form, technical support and so on and so forth, such that they'll be encouraged to really create such opportunities for the young ones, because they are our future. But let us also look at it this way. Now, what are we looking to achieve? Can we have a situation where industry and academia collaborate effectively? Such that, academia will not sit somewhere, create, let's say, academic beings, who are removed from reality, and then say that, okay, once they have gone through a 4-year program or a 3-year program, then take them because they are graduates. Or we want to see actually academic programs, integrated with technical and business setting approaches to doing things, such that these people come and they're already prepared. What we are having now is a curricula which has nothing to do with industrial inputs. And we believe that, our universities, our polytechnics, even at certain countries, you have faculties of universities. That is, for that matter, lecturers from time to time attached to industries, to renew and maybe acquire new skills which are related to industry. And I think that is the way we should go.
Now, Ecobank Ghana has emerged as the best place for businesses and individuals to seek credit. That's according to a new report by the Bank of Ghana. George Rafi tells us more.
Ecobank, according to the report, asked businesses in the agriculture, manufacturing, commerce and construction sector to pay an interest of 19% to 29.3%, despite advertising a base rate of 26%. This could mean that depending on the collateral presented and the nature of the loan, some firms paid 19% as interest on loans. Others might have paid as much as 29%, whilst other banks were quoting a single interest rate, like Standard Chartered Bank, which offered 19.7% to those in the manufacturing sector. Ecobank's decision to offer a range with their actual interest rate might have done the trick in beating the other 28 commercial banks assessed by the Bank of Ghana in the report. Ecobank also came on top as the best place for individuals in the manufacturing, commerce and agri sector to seek credit, but paid between 19% to 29.3%. However, when it comes to interest earned on deposit per annum, UT Bank was the best institution to put your funds, as it offered almost 16%. The annual percentage rates and average rates on deposit report ending September 30, 2016, which was put together by the Bank of Ghana, looks at the true interest rates banks charge on loans. The central bank maintains that it sees the regular publication of this report as a means of driving down the cost of borrowing, since none of the banks want to be seen as charging borrowers too much of a high interest rate. However, some banks have told Joy Business that they see the rate at which government borrows from the banks as the best way of checking rising interest rates rather than these publications.
That was a Business Desk report by George Riafe. You're still on Business Live. We're taking a quick break. We'll be back. Welcome back. You're still on Business Live, and it's now time to head to the stock exchange, where our research analyst Bertha Atubiga has been looking at the details, looking at the equities, the commodities, as well as the currencies, and she'll bring us up to speed with what is going on or what went on at the stock market. Good evening. Welcome to Business Live, Bertha.
Hello, Emmanuel. Good evening.
All right. So how did the market open today?
Well, let me say that today the market actually closed on a very good note, looking at the fact that we had more equities trading as compared to what we had on Thursday and Friday last week. And we still had huge volumes of shares trading in UT Bank. That's about 216,800 shares, still at 3 pesos per share. Cal also traded the highest volumes of shares today. That's 322,800 shares. And the equity money to add 4 pesos to its previous share price, that's 80 pesos, to close today at 84 pesos per share in 9 trades or transactions. EGL traded 46,900 shares. That was the third largest that we saw in the market, and the equity closed at 2 cedis 39 pesos. So it also added a peso to its previous price of 2 cedis 38 pesos per share. ETI traded only 200 shares at 13 pesos. We had FML trading 5,400 shares at 9 cedis 81 pesos. So FML actually appreciated by the close of Friday during the market summary. FML added a peso to its previous share price from 9 cedis 80 pesos. Is now trading at 9 cedis 81 pesos per share. We had GC Bank also trading only 100 shares at 3 cedis 50 pesos. SIC still closed at 14 pesos after trading 500 shares. Vijay General traded 5,200 shares at 70 pesos per share. And Total, which was the sole loser on the market, went down by 4 pesos to close at 4 pesos to close at 2 cedis per share after trading 4,400 shares at 8,800 Ghana cedis. So, and the final equity is Unilever, trading only 1,000 shares at 8 cedis 47 pesos. So these are the equities that traded today on the Ghana Stock Exchange. The total trades or transactions we had were 39, and the highest was recorded in CAL, and that resulted in the highest volumes of shares that we saw in CAL today on the stock market. And the total worth of the equities that traded today closed at 466,069 Ghana cedis on the market.
So, Bertha, do you have any hopes that there could be a change, a positive change, before the week ends this week?
Well, that would be too early to actually say that this is a complete turnaround for us this week, looking at the fact that the previous weeks have not been very impressive. Okay. And we are expecting even this year to close on a negative note. And this could be one-time gains for some of these equities. And maybe this week, if we should see more participants, that's more investors getting onto the market to purchase these low-priced equities, then we should see some marginal gains in some of the equities. But I'm not expecting anything different, like a huge difference from what we saw last week. But we should expect more equities to trade on the exchange this week. All
right. Thank you very much, Bertha, for that update. That was Bertha Atubiga. Now, for the interview of the day, an oil spill response contingency monitoring group has been inaugurated in Accra. The group will be responsible to coordinate activities offshore and for cleanup in case of a massive oil spill that's offshore. The deputy manager in charge of petroleum at the Environmental Protection Agency, Kojo Agbenu Efunam, says Ghana is prepared for any oil spill incidents in its petroleum industry.
We have 4 groups that we inaugurated. The Operations Working Group that will be looking at the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan itself and be doing audit of the national oil spill equipment that we have, and also to audit the oil companies' equipment and their contingency plans. The next one is the administration group that will see the legal aspects, the documentation, and if there is any spill, how people will need to submit claims, and they will put the claims together. Then the Environment Working Group that will be looking at how best we can do the response so that we can protect the environment. And the final group is the Chemicals Working Group. They will be looking at any chemical agents that will be used in fighting the oil spill.
So what are the very critical issues to our industry here by way of oil spill? What should be of critical importance to Ghana's industry?
The critical element is having contingency plan, having people know about the contingency plan, having them exercise regularly so that everybody knows the role that they can play, and then also continuous training.
So when it comes to a massive oil spill, for instance, in our waters, which are the major players that we initially have to contact, and then how prepared are we as a nation?
The major players, first the Environmental Protection Agency, we have Petroleum Commission, we have the Ghana Navy, Ghana Maritime Authority, and then the Ministry of Finance is also part of the steering group. Then we have Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation. We have the customs, we have the immigration, we have the Ghana Police Service, we have fisheries.